What's up, YouTube? It's your boy Josh Reese, and today we're going to be talking about some optometry schools. So you want to be an optometrist, and now really the only thing besides, actually the application that holds you back is knowing to which optometry schools you want to apply. And so I'll break it down, talk about what each schools have to offer, what you can look for, and hopefully help you decide which optometry school fits you best. Now, the first thing I want to kind of go over is if you want to be an optometrist, any school is good. Don't think just because you didn't get into Berkeley or just because you didn't get into SCO, that you're not going to be a good optometrist. Every optometry school really can and will teach you everything that you need to have to be a good optometrist, to be exactly the kind of optometrist you want to be. And besides that, if you're worried about specialization, every optometry school has residencies that you can do as well. So all is not lost if you didn't get into the optometry school of your dream. As long as you go to a optometry school, you'll be fine. You'll be able to do what you want to do, practice what you want to practice, where you want to practice. It's not going to be the end of the world if you don't get into the school you want to. But the first thing I'd say is look at cost. Some optometry schools are very cheap. Some have in-state tuition. Some, might offer you some great scholarships. Consider that. Consider which states have scholarships that you can apply for, such as WICHE. You want to make sure that you consider price as an option, because it's not going to be like medical school where physicians will make $300,000, $400,000. Some optometrists do make that much, but you do want to consider how much debt you're taking on, because once you get out of optometry school, it might take you a little bit longer to chip at your debt than it would be for some careers that might take on just as much debt as you. So consider price into it. Don't make it, your number one factor maybe, but don't you dare go to a school that's most expensive thinking that you'll get the best education, because like I said, every single school will make you a great optometrist. So unless you have a really, really convincing reason to go there, make sure that you take price into account and that you don't go to two similar schools and one's more expensive just because you think the more expensive school is going to be better, because that's not necessarily the case. The next thing I'd say to consider beyond price is location. So if you're someone who likes to be close to home, consider that. There's only 23 schools at the time I'm saying this. I guess there could be more, but not all of them are going to be found in places near big airports. If you need to, go home and travel a lot, not all of them are going to be close to national parks if you're into that, or near the ocean, right? There are a lot of great schools in great cities, and think about what the cities have to offer. If you have two similar schools, let's say, that you're considering, make sure that you can feel comfortable in the one. Take into account, if you have a wife or kids, which city you'd be more comfortable living with your wife or kids. Think about living situation and your commute. Would you have to commute? Would you not be able to stay late on campus and study because you'd be too afraid to walk home at night? Things like that. Just make sure you consider the location, and if you'd be able to fit into the city, and if you're yourself or wife or kids or husband and kids would be safe or fit in that city. Next, beyond location, I have to say the next most important factor is specialty. So there are some schools out there with great opportunities that other schools might just not have. Some schools have been around for forever, and might, feel a little old to you, and might, have, I don't know, a little outdated equipment, things like that. And some schools might be brand new. Both of those offer different things. Usually the older schools have the chance to have better faculty. And so when you're considering which school to go to, don't just look, oh, it feels old, but consider, oh, the old school might have faculty that have so much experience. They might have, surgeons that work on campus at the clinic, or, they might have a better clinic. Or just because it's new, don't just think, because the equipment, because the classrooms are so awesome and new, I'm going to get a great education, because sometimes they just don't have the opportunity to gather on as much high quality, great teaching faculty as other schools. So, consider the school that you're going to go to, whether it's old or new, and whether you like their faculty. Go ahead, reach out. Say, hey, here's where I'm from, emailing the advisor. Could you connect me with a professor here that has a similar situation? Or, have a chance when you can talk to a professor. How was your experience? Which optometry school did you go to? Which made you choose to teach at this school? You want to really get a feel for the school and its culture. Beyond that, you also, the next step beyond looking at its faculty and its equipment is you want to look at the clinic. Is it going to be a hassle to get hours in to practice as an optometrist? You want a school that has a clinical experience that you could see yourself doing in the future. So if you want to do like mobile kind of stuff, working out of a van, you can try to see schools that have opportunities like that. If you want to kind of be big hospital kind of practice, you might want to find a school that's close to hospitals that you could connect with, or have clinics that are big in the size of that. Or if you're fine with whatever, it really doesn't matter, because every optometry school is going to give you clinical experience. But if you do have a preference as far as how you would like to practice in the future, consider going to a school that will have a clinic or a clinical experience or exposure, or even rotations that could have you get the exposure that you would like before going into practice in that field. The next one I'd say is class size and class culture. So there are some schools that have huge class sizes, and there are some schools that have small class sizes. Some people thrive in bigger class environments, and some people thrive in smaller class environments. I'm personally someone who thrives in a small class environment. So it's probably not going to be as big of a deal to me that I can't dilate as many people's eyes, that I'll have to be doing it on the same few people the whole time. But for some people with a smaller class size, they might, not get along with those few people, and would love to have reached out, have a different kind of study group. So think about class size as you're doing it. They're always going to have a pretty good student to faculty ratio, just with it being an optometry school. But you just want to consider that if you'd like to have big lecture halls, small lecture halls, but each school is going to be at least fairly good at giving you an intimate experience and caring about you. As far as culture goes, you can kind of get a sense when you're on campus, the culture of the school, whether or not students support each other, whether or not they're, do extracurricular activities, what kind of clubs they have, how happy they are. You want to be able to fit into an environment that you can see yourself in, that you can really think, wow, I would thrive at this school. I'd want to make sure, especially during COVID, that you visit every school you plan to go to, and that you can kind of get a sense for the culture and get a sense as if you can see yourself and your family living there. So that's class size and class culture. But the last thing I'd have to say about choosing an optometry school is just make sure it feels good. No matter where you go, like I said at the beginning, you're going to be a great optometrist. It's what you are. It doesn't matter if you apply to the hardest school and get in, or you apply to the least hardest school to get in. Your optometry school experience is going to it's going to be great because you made it great. All right. Some people may look at different board scores and think, wow, am I not going to pass boards? Well, if you're someone that's serious enough about optometry school that you're watching this video, don't worry about it. You're not going to be that person that fails boards. If they have a 70, 60% pass rate, you're not going to be in the bottom 40%. You'll be in the top 40% if you're out here actively considering resources and looking at things that you should do. So I wouldn't consider board pass rate reflection of that. It might be a reflection of better faculty, though, and better one-on-one care. So that also reflects some of that. Well, go ahead and give this video a like if it helped you at all, and consider subscribing so I can make more content like this. I hope you all have a great day.